ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Wednesday, February 4th. We continue on Hoist the Colors. Middle of the week, we're 9 days away from ECU baseball beginning its 2026 campaign. Will continue on today's show. Our ECU baseball roster rundown set to be covered today as we go numerically down the list is Jackson DiLorenzo, Frank Saccone, and Austin Irby. We'll get to those guys by the end of the show. We also will continue on with our better, worst, even ECU tight end room discussion. We've done quarterbacks, running backs, receivers. We'll do the tight ends today. Desiree Riles, Javante Connor out. A couple transfers in. A lot of young guys coming back as well. We'll break that down. Huge ECU women's basketball game. USF ECU, 2 o'clock tip-off. Moved up today to 2 o'clock from previously scheduled 6 o'clock start time. We'll preview that. We'll get a Super Bowl pick from James Giglio, who is in studio, Hoist the Colors intern. And we're going to talk about MrBeast potentially being a new ECU mega donor. We'll discuss that and more. Let's introduce today's crew. We've got James Giglio. He's in studio. James, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Just enjoyed the snowy weekend, but I'm back and ready to get to the grind.
So we're reactivating your brain today.
Yes.
James, you told me you've kind of sat around just chilling for, 4 or 5 days now?
Yeah, I feel like I've done nothing for 72 hours, and this is like the second time I've left the apartment in 3 days probably. So
James is alive, and it is good to have you back on every Wednesday throughout the year. Philip Pilkington, he's behind the glass. He will not be producing the ECU women's basketball game today, but he will be doing the Patrick Johnson show later, along with this show. And we will not carry the women's basketball game now, correct, due to the change, Philip?
Yeah, logistically it was going to be really tough for Patrick to get over there and then be on air for his show. So I am going to attend. I'm going to try and stay till the end, but obviously I've got to get back over here to do PJ's show. So I will leave here after our show and head over to Williams Arena Minges Coliseum. And hopefully there can be some Pirate fans there. Students, you don't have class. Admission's free for students, so be sure you show up with your one card. Everybody else, they've probably got work, so I can excuse everybody else. It was a very late change.
It really was. I didn't even know about it until Philip texted me last night. I was going to go to the game if it was a 6 o'clock tip. Can't make it today, but we'll be following along. All right, segment 1, guys. Let's dive into the news that went viral last night. So MrBeast on Instagram, MrBeast, if you're unaware, is a famous YouTuber, social media platform artist. He's got his own game show now on Amazon Prime.
He's the most subscribed YouTuber in the world.
Most subscribed YouTuber in the world. $2.6 billion net worth.
Mm-hmm.
Greenville native. I believe attended ECU for a little bit, did not graduate college. His mom actually learned today, used to work in ECU athletics as an academic advisor. You have that tie as well. He did own at one point a cul-de-sac in the neighborhood I live in. I don't know if he still does, but super famous, rich YouTuber, MrBeast. And people have kind of been speculating for a while. Obviously, with money in college athletics, how do we get MrBeast involved with ECU athletics? And essentially, ECU has had a relationship, the university and athletics, with MrBeast for a while now. I would say it's a positive relationship that's gone back and forth. His team has always been engaging with ECU in a positive direction. They've never kind of shunned ECU. It's always been open dialogue, but he's got a lot going on. So we've been trying to move the needle forward, I would say. Mm-hmm. And last night, there was a post on social media on his Instagram. I don't know who made the original post, but basically it was an AI graphic of him handing an ECU football player a stack of cash, and it said, could ECU help ECU, or help ECU, could MrBeast help ECU win a national title with $100 million or something to that effect? And MrBeast shared the post and said, should I do this, ? With a crying, laughing emoji, which is probably the most social engagement we've seen MrBeast have with ECU athletics. Now, he has gone over to ECU basketball practice and practice with the team, Also, they rent and utilize the ECU athletic facilities a lot. I was talking to a source this morning. They use the ECU athletic facilities a lot more than they even show. So there's a good relationship there. I'll share some more things here in a minute. But first off, ever since this post has happened, understandably, James, there has been a ton of feedback, a ton of notoriety. I even checked Twitter this morning, and it was like one of the trending topics was MrBeast teases. Yeah, right here. Today's news at the top, 16 hours ago. MrBeast teases $100 million boost for ECU football glory. So that's trending on Twitter as of this morning. So pretty big deal. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been MrBeast obviously has the connection to ECU, the connection to Greenville. And like you said, this is the first time he's really shown any interest, I would say, in helping out ECU athletics. I know I've mentioned it to you in the past, like, oh, why does MrBeast not get involved with ECU athletics? But you're like, it's not that simple. This is the first time we've really seen him show any interest in it. I think, obviously, just the publicity it would bring alone would be extraordinary for ECU, even if ECU doesn't obviously win the national title in 2027. I think the publicity alone would be, I mean, otherworldly for ECU. I mean, they'd get national televised games, all sorts of revenue boosts. But yeah, I think it'd be a tremendous thing. And I am wondering, like, the soonest it could happen. Obviously, not next year because the recruiting class and transfer portal is pretty much already stapled in. But I think, I mean, if we can get them on board 2027, I mean, they should start hammering home ECU 2027 bet tickets.
We know that it can happen quickly, as we've seen at Texas Tech when you have an infusion of cash. So I do want to get more into the timeline. Let's say if something were to happen like this. I think realistically the more likely scenario is you just get MrBeast involved firsthand with ECU more directly in terms of whether it be marketing, whether it be utilizing the facilities in terms of like some sort of live stream or game show where it's more prominent, I should say, and you get the notoriety out there. Now, obviously, if he steps into a meeting, he's like, hey, I want to do this. I want to write a $100 million check today. You say yes, but I think like for ECU, you're kind of in the position like, let's just continue to get him more involved, and then over time you can grow the relationship from there. So I did talk to some sources, and they indicated to me that even before all this came out, that both sides, ECU Athletic Administration and the MrBeast team, were in the process of setting up a meeting for the coming weeks, months, just to kind of continue to drive that relationship further. And this is something ECU has actually pitched to MrBeast in the past. Now, in the past, it was with MrBeast's CEO and their team overall. I don't think Jimmy Donaldson, who is MrBeast, was there firsthand, but it was like, hey, we'll give you full access to our facilities. You can do a documentary, and basically you fund our team, for lack of a better term. This was more from an ECU basketball perspective because MrBeast is more of a basketball fan at the time. And it was, hey, come fund our team. You have full access. Do whatever you want in the facilities, and you can have a worst to first type story. And I think it was a smart move. And I was told it got a lot of engagement from MrBeast's people, but obviously they have a lot going on, so it hasn't really materialized. But this is something ECU has met with and pitched MrBeast's people on in the past, and now I'm hoping all this with another meeting leads to a little bit more, James.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see those steps moving forward. I mean, you got to do it whatever he wants, really. I mean, not whatever he wants, but, I mean, you got to kind of cater to him. Maybe, like, let him put his logo on the field or, do whatever in that stretch. But, yeah, like you said, letting him use the facilities for basically full funding. And I think, honestly, he posted football on his story, but I think the real challenge would be, could he get ECU to win the national title in basketball? I think that would be the real fun challenge.
All right, Philip Pilkington, your take on this before we dive into maybe some more specific ideas. What you think MrBeast, Beast Carolina, can it become a reality?
He mentioned there was the whole thing about the $100 million. You mentioned Texas Tech, and I know you meant that from a monetary comparison, not a direct comparison. But I do want to remind people, the Texas Techs of the world, for example, they've got donors that have oil money that love the athletics, that live vicariously through their athletics. I do not see MrBeast just handing East Carolina a check. And not that it's not a knock on him. I just don't see him caring all that much and living that vicariously through East Carolina athletics. I think it's something he probably enjoys. We've seen him at regionals in the past, but I don't think it's something where winning a national championship means all that much to him, and that's fine. So I think going back to what you guys were talking about there, I think the best bet for East Carolina is some sort of partnership. It's going to start small, maybe grow, but I think in order for this to happen, he's going to have to get something out of it too. It's going to be, hey, we're going to work together to create content. Okay, let's split the profits I make on that content. Maybe not even 50-50, but maybe it's 80-20, which would still be a huge thing for East Carolina if they're getting 20%. Even if that is, knowing him, this could be something that's $6, $7, $8 million, something like that you could then put in. Yeah, it's probably a one-time deal, but if it's successful for him, maybe it's something he does once a year and is able to help East Carolina get closer to that $20 million threshold. Again, I could be wrong. He could walk in, put a check in somebody's hand and say, hey, go win a natty, but I just don't see him being that much of like a sports guy or an ECU guy specifically, like those guys are at Texas Tech, where they're like, hey, man, if Texas Tech wins a natty, I can die happy. I don't think that's MrBeast's like biggest goal in life.
I think that's a fair take. I think there has to be return on the investment. And here's my thing. Look, MrBeast is cool. He's a Greenville guy. It's cool. He's a mega YouTube star. I've never watched a MrBeast video because, that's me. It's not me. I'm a sports guy. If he had a sports-specific video dealing with something, obviously, that I'm passionate about, I would watch it, even if it wasn't ECU related. So, my question is, if he dives into this realm, how much does that expand his platform? Now, obviously, he doesn't need it. He's already probably the largest YouTuber. But I do think you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, college football, college athletics. If he were to, do an escapade into college athletics, I think there would be a return on investment to that degree.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's saying no to more money. Obviously, like you said, he probably doesn't need the extra revenue or the extra publicity because, like we talked about off the air, he is the most subscribed YouTuber in the world, or not off air, but beginning of the show. So I don't think he would need the extra publicity. But yeah, I mean, like the marketing, it would come with just ESPN, right?
Right.
And other sports news networks posting about it, airing the ECU games. I mean, every time ECU would get on TV, he'd get mentioned like 50 times a game probably, like, oh, this is what MrBeast is doing for ECU this year. I mean, how many times did we see Bill Belichick in the first game with UNC?
Yep.
Like, that's just Bill Belichick. He's a football coach. He's not given, and he didn't do a good job. So that was still good publicity. There's no really such thing as bad publicity. So I think MrBeast, I think this is a tremendous opportunity for ECU. And like Philip said, you got to start slow or probably start smaller and just grow that relationship over time.
And then you wonder if that does grow. Let's just go hypothetical here, Steven. You mentioned you don't watch his videos. I think I've watched one or two, but it was like Tom Brady was in it. It was a sports-related thing. I don't think a lot of people like us, Steven, and James, who have teams that we care about, who are diehard sports fans, are into this kind of things. A lot of his subscribers probably are not avid sports fans. But what would happen if there is a partnership and then these guys, they're probably not anti-sports fans. They're just kind of one of those people like, I'd rather go out and play and hang out with my buddies than sit and watch. Do they start becoming maybe quasi-ECU fans because they care about MrBeast? I mean, if you look at it, I know it sounds crazy, but look at the jersey sales for Wrexham, the soccer club over in England that Ryan Reynolds and Rob, I can't even say his last name, but those guys went in and bought, and now they've got that Disney Plus show, and people who've never cared about soccer because of the whole Ryan Reynolds thing in the United States, now they're watching this random soccer team that's not even in the Premier League yet and buying their stuff. Could that happen with East Carolina? It would take a lot of time and a lot of videos, but if that's a partnership that lasts, hey, just that much more revenue, sales, and TV numbers. To James's point, it gets mentioned. We get more national televised games, help our pockets even more so in the long run.
Well, another point, Philip, to that is Taylor Swift with the Chiefs. I think her dating Travis Kelce, I mean, that brings in a lot of her audience that probably didn't give a crap about football before she started dating Kelce. Now all her fans are buying Travis Kelce jerseys and watching all the Chiefs games every week. So that's another example.
That's a good point. The Hunts don't need that oil money anymore. They got that Travis
money,
Kelce, Swifty money. There you go.
Kenneth says you could do a reality show with ESPN on this set with MrBeast. I mean, he already has a a partnership with Amazon Prime. So I mean, that's the you could do. There's so many layers to this. You could do a reality show. You could do a documentary. I mean, there's just a lot of things you could do. Like I was talking about ECU basketball, worst to first program that's never won. Well, all of a sudden they get a financial backing from Greenville native MrBeast, and they can win. You know, we can get into that in a second too. Maybe a new bowl game in Greenville, the MrBeast Bowl. I mean, next year you have the logo patches allowed on jerseys. Why not put a little MrBeast symbol on ECUs? You can put it on the field as well. I mean, there's just so many ways to do it. Have him involved with giveaways at ECU football games of some sort. I mean, there's just a lot to do.
I think the Charlotte Hornets have their pastor. I don't know if they still do, but their past jerseys had MrBeast patches on them.
Yeah, so
a couple years ago, I think.
There's a lot to do, and I agree with you guys. Like, if he were to be involved with ECU or any team, I mean, I think you'd have legions of MrBeast fans who just tune in to ECU games. I mean, ECU games would become must-see TV, like for the American and ESPN television contract. Probably every ECU game would be a Thursday night game, which would kind of stink. But it would be like College Game Day would be living it up. I mean, I think it'd be a big deal.
And there would be a lot more Hoist the Colors subscribers and a lot more people tuning into this radio show from around the country.
That is true. Brady wants us to get MrBeast on the show. Look, ECU is trying to meet with him. If I can get him on the show or anybody from MrBeast's team, I would take him. But I think he's kind of a hard man to track down. From what I understand, he's more so based in California now with the publicity and some of the backing of some companies involved in his production now. So here's my question. I know we got to get a break in soon. All right, let's say just $100 million. He was willing to give it to ECU tomorrow, as he kind of teased, which, again, I don't think is the reality, but if he did, like James was saying, it wouldn't happen overnight. They can't go to this year's roster. The portal's closed. So it'd be more for 27. And then I honestly think it'd be easier to do in basketball, to win quicker in basketball than in football. Am I wrong with that take? Because, I feel like if you get $10 million for basketball and just go buy 5 elite players.
Yeah, there's less roster spots you have to worry about too. So
I don't know, how would you guys – and you couldn't all spend it at once because of the rev share cap and the NIL. You have to actually have, a legit deal for NIL now that has to pass a clearinghouse.
I think it's just harder to win the NCAA tournament in basketball than it is the college football national championship, so that's an extra factor. But actually getting to the tournament, if they just got ECU to the tournament, that'd be something. So
yeah, I think less guys on the roster helps. But then also, look, there are teams that come from lesser leagues, and let's be honest, now we're definitely a lesser league, being a one bid league, that have made runs in this thing and consistently make runs in this thing, like a Gonzaga. You put the right roster on the court, you win a couple out-of-conference games against some big programs, boom, you're in. The thing is with football, look, Notre Dame wasn't in. Last year, Alabama wasn't in. There's still a little bit of randomness to getting into that 12-team tournament because a slip-up at the wrong time is the difference in making it and not making it. Whereas, every team that misses in basketball, you didn't slip up once. You slipped up 4 or 5 times that you should have won a game. It's just such a small sample size of football. You have such a small percentage getting in. So, again, getting in, easier in basketball. Actually making a run. Look, if you got the hog mollies up front to do it, you got the quarterback, you can beat anybody. Just because you've got the team in basketball doesn't mean you're going to go out there and beat Arizona, because you're not going to have that guy. You're not going to have the A.J. DeBonces, the Darren Petersons, and the Cameron Boozers of the world on the roster, no matter how expensive your roster is, because those teams are paying the same thing, and they'd much rather go to Duke, Kansas, Arizona, Kentucky, BYU than come here.
So with football, would it be fair? I think you would become the American number 1 team, obviously, overnight, but, I don't know if you could just immediately expect national championship contention just because of the reasons you mentioned. I almost think it'd be – you'd have to give it 2 years. If you got $100 million, you can invest it over time. You probably wouldn't spend it all at once, but there'd be a lot of pressure on Blake Harrell to win. Hey, man, you have the richest roster outside of – you may have the richest roster in all of college football, but it's not that easy, James. What would be a fair expectation?
I think
just make the playoff?
Just conference title, win the conference title, 10-2, 11-1. I think a year 1 would be a fair expectation.
Yeah.
Playoff, yeah.
get to the playoff and then see what happens. But just think of all the people that would pull against ECU. I think it'd make ECU either like you're a huge fan or you're against it because you just hate the money of college athletics.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it'd be fascinating. All right, let's get a break in. Fun discussion. If you guys got any more comments on that, drop it in the chat, and we will get to it on the other side. We'll dive into the ECU tight end room, where they spent a little bit of money in the transfer portal this year. Not MrBeast money, but we'll talk about those new entries. The departures. Is the room better, even, or worse? We'll break that down next.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agent.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, segment 2. A couple more comments on the MrBeast situation before we move on. John Mooney says, how did that instant cash work for Texas Tech this year? Wouldn't be instant success. I mean, I would say it was an instant success for them. They made the playoffs, just didn't beat Oregon, but I mean, you had anything close to that caliber of year for ECU, I think you call it a success. And then Kenny says Indiana did it in 2 years. He says the SEC would come calling. I mean, that would be the biggest thing for ECU is you try to capitalize on a short-term window to make yourself more long-term attractive for a bigger league. But we'll see.
You don't want to end up like Rutgers and be $500 million in debt.
Yeah, I saw Florida State was also like hundreds of $1 million in debt just from last year. I mean, it's just crazy. College athletics. MrBeast could give ECU $100 million, and the Pirates could spend it all and still be in debt the next year with the way college athletics is going. All right, transfer portal shakeup continues. Let's dive into our next room, the tight end room. Not the sexiest room in the world, but still a key position. I'll run through the departures, the returners, what we need to know. So we've been doing better, worse, even. For those who haven't been following along, we did quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and we're kind of trying to dictate or profile / decide is the position room better on paper compared to how it ended last season. Now, if there is a room for me that is going to be easily worse than last year, I think this is it, the tight end room, which I'll get into here in a minute. Desiree Riles and Javonte Connor have departed. Desiree Riles has transferred to Florida State. He had 28 catches, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns last season. Javonte Connor has transferred to Vanderbilt, 23 catches, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns. These guys played a lot of snaps, solid blockers as well, which is clearly half, if not more than half, of what tight ends do. Now, returning players, you have 3 walk-ons returning: Mason Brown, Miles Parker, Gage Real. Brown and Parker played the most offensive snaps last season outside of Riles and Connor at the position. Brown played 97, Parker played 57, Gage Real played 1 snap. So I would expect Brown and Parker to kind of return in that blocking tight end phase. ECU also returns 3 true freshmen who redshirted in 2025. These guys were all 3-star recruits coming out of high school they developed last year. Caleb Morrow, really good size, but he's coming off an injury. Cayman Reynolds out of Georgia, 6'4", 240, good athlete. And then Stephen Collier, another really good athlete out of South Carolina, 6'2", 240. So for me, following recruiting, I like these 3 players. I think they're clearly developmental guys who by this year and the next year will be able to contribute. Reynolds and Collier specifically in the receiving game. And then transfer-wise, the Pirates brought in 2 older transfers to take the place of Riles and Connor. Kanan Hamlet from App State, 13 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns last season for the Mountaineers. And Ismail Smith-Flores from Rio Grande Valley, 20 catches, 244 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns for the Vaqueros. Bet you guys didn't know that.
Did not.
No high school signees due to the sheer volume. So you got a lot of guys here. The projected tight end depth chart for me, I have Flores as the starter, Hamlet as the 2, then Brown, Parker, Collier, Reynolds backing them up. So a lot of bodies on paper. I think Flores started his career at Nebraska as a defensive player, went to Rio Grande Valley where he became an offensive player. I think he can be a really good player. I think Hamlet's solid. But for me, this is tough to say better than last year, even, because I think Riles and Connor are 2 pretty elite athletes tight end. James, your thoughts after hearing all that?
Yeah, I'm going to say worse, obviously for now, because anything can happen during the year. But I'm going to say worse. I think Connor and Riles made ECU's tight end room one of the best in the American last year, at least top 3. So I don't know if we're going to return that same production with these guys coming in, and obviously Riles and Connor are going to SEC and ACC schools, so obviously they played well enough for that. But I do like Hamlet. I do like his size. I think you said he was, 6'5"?
Yeah,
so maybe
taller
he can,
receiver type,
replicate some of that, what Connor kind of had last year, him being a bigger body. But yeah, too many question marks for me right now, so I'm going to say worse.
Philip, your thoughts on the tight end room. By the way, Hunter McKay is back as the tight ends coach. He's the only returning offensive coach.
One of the things I just want to remind people, we're saying worse, and worse is not a knock on this room. I think this is going to be a solid room. Worse is a compliment to how damn good those 2 guys were. The likelihood of you having 2 guys that good at the group of 5 level in the transfer portal era is so slim. It's probably not going to happen again ever under the current state of college football. Again, not a knock on this coaching staff, not a knock on even really the system. It's just those guys really were that good, and hey, you know what? We were fortunate to have them. No reason to hold our heads down and be disappointed that this year probably won't have that same production, because don't be upset those times are gone. Just be happy they happened. I think there's a lot of guys who can put their name in the hat this year. I mean, you mentioned it, Mason Brown. I got his name right that time. I didn't call him Jets tight end Mason Taylor for the first time ever. Over 90 snaps to walk on, and it started with that second game at Campbell and seeing some significant snaps in that game, even in the first quarter. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for these guys. You mentioned the 2 transfers. So, look, I think it's going to be a solid room, but, yeah, it's worse by default.
I like the the young guys long term, and I think the two tight ends they added are perfect bridge guys, and I think Flores really has some upside in the tight end room. Davy Jones with a good question says, how much is a tight end utilized in the air raid offense? Well, the true air raid, not as often, but in this version of Jordan Davis's air raid, they still went 11 personnel, which is one back, one tight end the majority of the time. Trey Williams was their fifth leading receiver at North Texas last season when Davis was the OC. Obviously, he wasn't calling plays, but he was a 6'3", 230-pound tight end, finished the year with 30 catches, 375 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he was on the field the vast majority of the plays. So I do think in an ideal world, you have 2 to 3 tight ends you trust because you really want to be in 11 personnel to be effective running the football and throwing it in any situation. I think you have that with Flores and Hamlet, and then you just find a third guy, whether that's Brown as a blocking tight end, Parker as a blocking tight end, or one of these young guys. So, I feel like the room, kind of go back to Philip's point, James, it's not like it's in dire straits or anything. I think it's one of those things where it's in good shape, and it's just maybe we're just not throwing the ball to the tight end like last year.
Yeah, and like Philip said, us saying worse doesn't necessarily mean these guys will be bad. Just those two guys last year were pretty freaking good. So, these guys this year, if they can replicate just half the success that the guys had last year, I think it'll be pretty in good shape. But yeah, you just want to see them blocking and catching the ball like we saw last year. And I think mainly with Hamlet and what's the other guy's name?
Flores.
Flores. I think if we can get those two out like we had with Riles and Connor last year, we'll be good. And
yesterday, Philip hit on it. You really just want one of these guys at the least to be a factor in the red zone. Hamlet's 6'4", 235. Flores, 6 touchdowns last year at 6'4", 245 as well. So, and he's even listed even bigger on the Rio Grande Valley website, 6'5", 255. So, you just kind of want one of them to be a factor in the red zone, right, Philip? If they're going to catch the ball, even if they're not game breakers in the open field, at least have that threat of, right, we can either line up and run it in the red zone with these big tight ends, or we can throw it to them.
Yeah, exactly. Look, in this offense you mentioned, there's a lot of 11 personnel, but you're doing that so that you can run the football. There will be more 10 personnel than there's been in the past, and down in and down out, they've just got to prove they can catch football. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Even if they're the outlet guy, just sure hands. When it comes to the red zone, due to the lack of size at this receiver position, also just due to the era of football that we live in, and this is not even a 2026 thing. This is really something that started in the early 2000s with guys like Dallas Clark, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez. If you do not have a tight end as a threat in the red zone, there's not a very good chance you're going to be a very dynamic offense and a very good football team. So, again, sure hands and a big body in the red zone. You don't have to be the guy who catches the shallow drag, sticks his foot in the ground, and gets 18 yards on a 5-yard drag route. That'd be great, but you don't have to have that to be successful.
In summation, I feel like this is another offensive room that is, at worst, solid on paper, with the potential to be better with some more development, and we'll see how it plays out over time. But I'm with you. It feels like we're saying worse a lot, but I think that's more of a credit to, A, last year's offense, and B, just kind of the unknown. We have new play caller offensively, a lot of new players, but I feel like even though there may be a drop-off on paper, James, I still expect this to be a pretty good offense overall.
Yeah, and like we said, maybe we come back next year this time, and we're like, okay, that tight end room blew our expectations out of the water, and ECU went 10-2 and won the American. But only time will tell, like you said. And this offense, I think, will be decent. Quarterback room, running back room. And right now it might not seem like improvements, or it might not seem like really anything, but, only time will tell. I think this time next year we could be saying a lot of different things.
No doubt. That's what makes the offseason fun. We discuss it, and then we will look back and see how stupid we sounded a year from now, which is how it goes. Let's get a break in, and we'll come back. We will continue on. We'll get James Gilio's Super Bowl pick. Who does he have? The Patriots, the Seahawks. We'll get that. Also talk a little ECU women's basketball, big game today against South Florida. That's coming up next.
is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
The Colors on a Wednesday, February 4th edition of the show. We've talked Mr. Beast. We've talked ECU tight ends. Let's talk some ECU women's basketball real quick. This is a critical game this afternoon inside Minges Coliseum. ECU South Florida moved up to 2 o'clock, was originally a 6 o'clock start time. Moved up to the projected freezing temperatures. And South Florida, if you're unfamiliar with women's basketball, one of the top programs over time in the league. And right now, a game behind ECU in the conference standings. They're 13-9, 6-3 in the league. ECU 8-2 in the league. ECU 2 games behind Rice, which is unbeaten. So this is a big game. James, I know you've called, James Giglio with us, Philip Pilgrim, and James, you've called several women's basketball games this year. We don't know Savannah Brooks' status. She missed the last game with a foot injury or ankle of some sort. She's questionable, according to Philip's sources. But this is a big one in Minges today. If they win it, they put more separation between second place and themselves.
Yeah, obviously a massive game. I liked what they how they bounced back versus Charlotte in their previous game, even without Savannah Brooks. But I think they're going to need her today. Philip, she's been a big part of their offense. She's been a big part of their guard play with her and Kennedy Fauntleroy. So they'll definitely need her back. But I did like the way they responded against Charlotte after that Wichita State, kind of laying that egg there. But today will be a big game. Like you said, South Florida, historically one of the top teams of the conference, and ECU right now, I think a game ahead, half game ahead of them. So big conference implications today.
Yeah, you've got Rice at 9-0. Tulsa and ECU are tied at 8-2. South Florida at 6-3, and then North Texas at 6-4. So, ECU's offense has been a little sporadic the last 2 games. Obviously, starting with that Wichita State game, we talked about it, Philip. They had been scoring at such a high level. It was probably you can't expect that necessarily every night, but I'm curious to see, is tonight more of an offensive game or a defensive game with South Florida rolling to town?
Yeah, of course, Kim McNeil wants her team to always play good defensively, but if you want to go out and win this conference or at least be a top 2 seed, because it's the same format as the men's tournament, you get that bye into the semifinals. You got to win this one tonight or this afternoon, I guess. It's been moved up to 2 o'clock. The good thing is you got the head-to-head over Tulsa. They came into Minji's a few weeks ago, and they took care of Tulsa. Actually, pretty soundly took care of Tulsa in that contest. So, this is going to be a big one, but you're going to need to even see more production offensively because I thought it was better Friday. Still didn't think it was reaching the full potential. So let's continue to improve, and hopefully today's a good one.
Should be a fun one if you can get there. I know with the early start time, it is a little difficult, but 2 p.m. and get there, support the women, support the ladies as they take on a big conference game. Then they've got at Tulane, at Temple, FAU at home, and then Rice. So
big game with Rice, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they can take care of business leading into that contest. All right, Super Bowl 60 is 4 days away. James, you will not have a chance outside of this very moment to make a prediction on the air at least. So what are you looking forward to? Do you have a prediction for Super Bowl 60?
I'm looking forward to just the Super Bowl day, Super Bowl Sunday in general. I love the Super Bowl, one of my favorite days of the year. But my game prediction, I think right now Seattle, I think would pick to win. I would pick them to win by 3. I think a 27-24 kind of game. A lot of people are really saying, "Oh, Seattle's going to blow them out of the water. I can't believe the spread is what it is." I think New England's really well coached. Their defense is really well, and to be fair, the Patriots' 3 playoff games I feel like have been in poor conditions, and now they're playing in a dome.
In a blizzard, yeah.
Yeah, they're playing now, not in a dome, but they're playing in better conditions because I keep forgetting it's outside in San Francisco or Santa Clara, wherever it is.
The Bay Area.
The Bay Area, yeah. So I'm expecting Drake May to make some throws. I'm expecting, Matt Collins and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, I mean, he's been waiting forever to get to this Super Bowl, so I'm sure he's ready to ball out. I'm not predicting the Patriots to win, but I'm taking Seattle, I think 27-24. My Super Bowl MVP is going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Safe pick there. Safe pick for sure. I feel like I'm with you. There's too much talk about the Seahawks are going to blow them out.
Yeah.
And that honestly terrifies me because I think the last thing I'm prepared to deal with is a not-so-good Patriots team winning the Super Bowl.
Undeserving, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, I credit the great, well-coached team. They took advantage of some errors from Denver, but it's like I watched that game, and Drake made me look pretty terrified in the AFC Championship game. And the weather played a role, but, there's even footage of him on the sidelines talking about how hard it is and all this. I'm just I don't know. I just hope we get – if the Seahawks are at their best, I think they win. I do agree with you that the Patriots are so well coached. If the Seahawks make some mistakes, they'll be there to win the game. And it can definitely happen. I don't know. Super Bowls are weird, Philip. We know this. And certainly there's a scenario where the Seahawks blow them out, but – the closer we get to this game, the more I'm leaning towards picking the Patriots, just because.
I get it because it seems like anytime everybody's all on the same team, that team loses. Example, the Patriots, when they were supposed to get hammered by the Rams back in 2001, the greatest show on turf, arguably one of the third greatest football team ever assembled, and they win. And then you think of, Elway can't win a Super Bowl, and Green Bay just beat the heck out of New England last year. No way the Broncos beat Green Bay. They win. You go back to Super Bowl III with Baltimore and the Jets. Well, the Jets are coming over from the AFL. The AFL has gotten hammered in the last 2 Super Bowls. AFL teams can't beat NFL teams. And then all of a sudden it's 16-3, and Baltimore's never in the football game, and Earl Morrall plays the worst game of his career. So, it just – I don't know. Anytime everybody's on one team, with the exception of, maybe the 85 Bears, it doesn't seem to ever go that team's way.
Denver was pretty heavily favored in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. I think it maybe closed at 3 or 4, but a lot of people expected Denver to roll. Now, that was also the coldest Super Bowl of all time, which did not mesh well with Manning.
Yeah, that was weird that they played that in MetLife.
Yeah, so
it was cold in February, yeah.
That game was rigged from the start. From the opening snap, thereforth, it was brutal. But yeah, you also had the West Coast factor. I mean, it probably doesn't matter with the Pats being on the West Coast for the whole week, but
they've been there for a couple of days now.
It's just I'm going. I don't know. I'll save my pick for Friday, but I'm just expecting a weird game.
Super Bowls do get weird. Yeah. Usually a running back or receiver will throw a touchdown or the score. I feel like I was
McDaniel
saying
will have something.
I said
Josh
this
McDaniels
the
will
other
have
day. I
something.
feel like
don't
the
know.
score, like the final score for the Super Bowl, is never a traditional football score. Like
It can
last
be
year,
very
it was
weird.
22. Previous year was 25-22.
Yeah, that's true. We had a 41-33 in there. There's been a 32-29.
Seahawks Broncos was 43-8.
Yeah,
like I
that
feel like
was-
that's never a traditional final score.
I've
Like for the
wiped
Super
that
Bowl.
one.
Yeah,
from my
what Super
memory.
Bowl 2 was 33-14. Super Bowl 11 was a weird score. I think it was like 32-14.
Like the
46-10 in Super Bowl 20.
Like it's
yeah.
a traditional score, but not a final score. Like the Rams Patriots
Yeah.
13-3 a couple years. Like they're not a couple years ago now, but
But like even the first Rams Patriots, that one was normal. It's 20-17. Like,
Yeah.
But you don't. Those are to your point, James. Are very few and far between.
I've always thought that was like a weird factor of the Super Bowl is that the score, it's never a traditional football score. So
Broncos 24, Panthers 10. Philip.
that's
Yeah, that one was normal.
Still more like a halftime score than.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like even like the normal scores feel like halftime or third quarter scores. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. If the Patriots win, what does the narrative come out of the game? Because like I feel like everybody wants to crown Drake May. I don't think he's that good yet, but
I mean, they'll get discredited because they had the easy schedule. But
Think so?
I mean, the more years to go by, they'll be like, oh, remember the Patriots won their 7th Super Bowl. So people forget.
There will be two narratives. This is an asterisk Super Bowl. They only beat one playoff team the whole time till they got there, and then the playoffs, all the weather was crappy. That'll be what the haters say. Then there'll be the other side of he is the next Tom Brady. No questions asked. There will be no middle of the line narratives. It will be yin and yang.
and there would be the Sam Darnold is still a choke artist.
There will be that. There will be that.
Are you pulling for Darnold as a Jets guy? Yeah.
Patriots, I can't stand the Patriots, so I will be pulling for a New York Jets drafted quarterback to win a Super Bowl, yes.
There you go. There's your James Giglio Super Bowl 60 pick and preview. We'll get a break in. We'll talk some ECU baseball to round out the show after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted
get the
choice
podcast
agency.
of the show on the IVX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
Got it. You don't have to tell me twice. I remember it exactly.
Stephen Igo and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment here, Hoist the Colors, just to give you an idea of the MrBeast stuff going national. Some reporter from the Orlando TV market just quote tweeted our story about MrBeast. Says, quote, "This would be the greatest YouTube video of all time. Also, if this happens, ECU in the Big 12 will be a lot of fun." So let's make it happen. MrBeast. Beast Carolina.
Beast.
Let's do it. Let's close today's show. ECU baseball. We got James Gillo hanging out. Philip Pilkington behind the glass as well. And we are continuing our ECU baseball roster rundown with the season on the horizon. Number 19 is Jackson DiLorenzo. Showed a lot of promise as a freshman, gentlemen. 20 games out of the pen, 2-2, 4.62 ERA, 26 strikeouts to 10 walks, and 25 innings of work. I believe had some big outs in the North Carolina game early in his freshman year. Last year struggled with command, 24 strikeouts and 21 innings, which is good, but he walked 23. So 23 walks and 21 innings, not good. 24 strikeouts and 21 innings, pretty good. He's going into year 3 here. It's just command, James. Like, he's got the stuff, and it's just, I think, mentality command now.
Yeah, obviously, DiLorenzo, it's good to bring back another bullpen guy who's been here before, or has been with the program for now a couple of years. But obviously, you want to see him work on, the walks. 23 walks or 21 walks and 23 innings, whatever it is obviously not good. I remember watching him a couple of games last year where I felt like he would go start kind of hot, and then he would just lose it as a batter, as more pitches he had to throw. But I'm excited for him only because he's been with the program now for 2 years. So I'm excited to see what he brings this year, now in year 3, and I'm sure he's moving more up the depth chart now since he's an experienced guy. So
I kind of like the fact that he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him this year, Philip. So maybe he can just go out there and pitch. I think last year we all kind of thought he'd be the guy in the bullpen. So maybe this year a little pressure's off of him.
Yeah, and due to lack of, I think, bullpen depth, you put him in a lot of pressure situations. I think this year you can build his confidence. Hopefully, you can get up early in the season in some games, and maybe just let him close out some games or pitch some 7th and 8th innings. Kind of build that confidence back up. Also, by the way, just got a text: Savannah Brooks will be active today. That is official.
There you go. Breaking news from insider Philip Pilkington. Savannah Brooks good to go for the USF game. 2:00 tip. Number 20 is Frank Saccone, St. Joe's transfer. He was their Friday night starter last year in the A-10, 14 starts, 4.7 ERA, averaged 5 wins on the season. That's not right, but he had 5 wins on the season with 74 and 2 innings pitched. He had some games. He was basically the workhorse of the St. Joe's starting rotation last year, which was a solid team, 6'2", 205 right-hander. To me, he's competing for a spot in the rotation, James. It's like he could be a midweek guy, Sunday guy. He's going to go in there, get you some outs, maybe not overwhelming stuff, but an experienced arm for the pitching staff.
Yeah, this sounds like another reliable arm in the bullpen, and maybe he works his way up to being that Sunday starter, midweek starter. But I think it's honestly exactly what ECU needs, because last year I feel like those midweek starters, some of those games would just kind of get out of control, and it was just too many question marks in the bullpen. So I think bringing in an older, reliable arm from St. Joe's, I think is exactly what ECU needed.
We all know that you can never have enough starting pitching depth, all of us that follow baseball. Last one for today, number 20.
Real quick, I'm just going to say this. 14 games he appeared in, 74 innings. So he averaged over 5 innings per appearance. That, to me, I would be content with 100% as a midweek guy.
Yeah. I guess that's what the bio tried to state. It said average 5 wins, but I think it meant 5 innings. All right, Austin Irby, number 21, finished the year red hot. This year, preseason all-conference recognition, 12 homers, 10 doubles, 50 RBIs. I feel like he had like half of those homers in the postseason, James. So I think he's going to hit in the middle of your order. 35 walks, 10 hit by pitches last year to 39 K, so he reached base more than he struck out. Great sign, hit for power. He's got all the tools for a big sophomore year.
Yeah, he's a streaky hitter. He's a smart hitter, like you said, and most of those hits most of those home runs, I feel like, came in the postseason at the end of the year when he got really hot, and you're hoping he can carry that momentum into this season. But another one of those guys that, started cold, but, it's a long season. So as the season went on, he got better and better, and you hope that's what he can replicate this year.
Ceiling, best position player on the team. Floor, you'd hope, third to fourth best position player on the team.
He hit 12 bombs last year. I'm setting the total for this year at 14.5. Over under.
I think I would go over.
Over?
Yeah, I think I'll go over.
All right.
14.5.
15.5. You also taking over?
I think it's a great line, actually. I think I'd see him at 16.
Yeah.
16,
yeah.
I think.
All right, there you have it. Our ECU baseball roster rundown. We're through number 21. Tomorrow we will have Walker Barron, Braxton Trammell, who unfortunately will probably miss some time with an injury, and Braden Burris on the horizon as well. So we'll get those guys in tomorrow. James, good stuff, man. Appreciate you. I hope your brain is returning to normal now.
Yeah. The more the snow melts, the more my brain activates. So
there you go. James Giglio, Hoist College intern. Good to have him back. Appreciate Philip Pilkington as well behind the scenes. We'll be back tomorrow. Aaron Fitt of D1 Baseball with us to preview the college baseball season. We'll see you then.